I'm ready.
Get after it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. We need to approve the minutes from the December 17th regular meeting.
No, preview.
Oh, sorry.
Preview approval.
I jumped ahead. The preview approval of the agenda. We need a motion.
Move to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Point of order, is this where, to make a change as we discussed earlier, is this where we should do that prior to approval? Okay, then a subsidiary, I guess, motion is to, from me, will be to move the, any folks who have signed up to speak regarding the tax levy and bond issue, excuse me, to move that to, I believe it's 6B, immediately following the steering committee's presentation.
6C.
6C, I apologize. So to tighten that up, Susan, to move the any public statements about the levy or the bond issue to immediately following the steering committee's presentation.
Do we have any?
We do.
Yes, we do have one.
We have one.
Okay, we already had a motion and a second, so I either need an amended motion from the maker, or we need to vote on that and then do a second motion.
I'm not sure I follow the
He wants me to amend mine, and I'm good with that. I have no issue with amending my motion.
Oh, so it doesn't require a second motion, just an amended. Oh, okay.
We can do it that way.
Okay. Do it that way. Confusing myself.
It was a
And
little
that-
confusing.
Yeah.
That's not the consent agenda that we're approving either.
Correct.
No.
Correct. Okay, so we've got you've amended it?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
Do we need to re-second that?
Yeah, just a second. Okay, I changed it to move the audience delegations about the levy bond issue to 6C following the steering committee presentation. Is that acceptable?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, I got
I'll
it.
second that.
Okay, Doug second. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we need to approve, moving on to the consent agenda, we need to approve the agenda.
I'll make the motion. We approve the consent agenda with the removal of D, advertising agreement for scoreboard, to be removed from the agenda.
Second.
Hold on just a second, please. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Audience delegations have been moved. Student recognition. Looks like we've got some students from Cass Career Center here.
All right, guys, why don't you come up here and join me? So we've got 5 of our officers here from DECA, Skills USA, and FFA. These students give countless hours of their time throughout the school year to make these organizations run and to give other students a lot of fantastic opportunities. So I've got Shaylee here is from Belton High School, and then I've got Jacob Carter from Raymore. I've got Elizabeth Bostick from Harrisonville, Kara Lemmer from Harrisonville, and Ethan Inman from Harrisonville. So Shaylee Burkard, let me have you and Jacob come up first, talk just a little bit about skills and anything else you'd like to say. Go ahead.
Well, she already introduced us, but I'm Shaylee Bruckert. I'm a senior at Belton High School, and it's my second year as a member of Skills USA. So Skills USA is a partnership between industry and education, which allows students to pursue a technical career and improve their personal, education, and workplace skills. And We are preparing right now for district contests. We compete at a district, state, and national level. And districts is actually February 5th, so we're getting close to that date, so we're all trying to prepare for our competitions. And last year I competed in CPS, which is Career Pathways Showcase. It's basically finding a community problem and a way to solve it while working with your industry. And this year I'm also competing in CPS again, and I'm competing in prepared speech.
So I'm Jacob Carter. I'm a second year. I'm in the construction tech program at Cass Career Center. And for the district context I'm competing in, I'm doing carpentry, which is what I did last year. I'm also doing a new contest that I have not done but has been in multiple times. Job skill demo open. I will be doing that over landscape lighting. I will also be doing teamworks, which is what I did last year at the state level. So what officers have taught me many things, many leadership roles, many team working skills, and I don't know what I would be like without being an officer. I learned how to overcome my I just lost it. Sorry, I just lost my chance. Overcome public speaking. I ironically overcome public speaking.
Good job.
Yes,
Good job.
that. Yeah, I
You did
kind
great.
of that.
You did great.
Yes, it's really helped me a lot. It helped me make a lot of friends, a lot of connections in my construction industries, and it's just really helped me a lot.
Very good. I'd love to tell you that public speaking gets
Yeah.
easier, but it doesn't.
All right, Elizabeth and Kara, if you'd like to come up and say a few words.
Hi, I'm Kara Limmer, and I'm the Vice President of DECA. This is my third year in marketing, and I'm a junior at Harrisonville High School.
And I'm Elizabeth Bosick, and I'm the President of DECA, and this is my third year in the program, and I'm a junior at Harrisonville High School.
We'd like to start off by just thanking you guys for all your support with DECA, and through your support we have been able to do many things, such as go to New York this year.
So in November, we went to New York City for a DECA conference. It was about 4 days long, and it really just showed us how marketing is integrated into the actual real world. And so we got to go to places like Radio City Rockettes, and we got to watch a show and go on a tour and see how they use marketing to get their show out there. And it was a really great experience for the four of us that went, and I know we're never going to forget it, and we'll just have that memory forever.
And another big thing DECA does, we do a lot of community service. Every month we've done a community service. We baked cookies for law enforcement and firefighters. We collected winter wear for Hope Haven. We were part of the trunk or treat on the square, and we also packed boxes of food at Harvesters in December.
So DECA, we compete at the district, state, and national level, and so we have districts on February 5th, and then we have state at Crown Center, and then if we make it past state, we get to go to nationals, which is in Nashville, Tennessee, so that'll be a really great experience. And I went to state last year, and it was something I'll never forget. It was a great experience, and I know DECA has really helped me get over talking to people I don't really know, because you have to talk to judges who you don't know, they're strangers, and it just really helped me in my life.
Yes. And we'd like to thank you guys for your time.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ethan Inman, and I serve as the chapter president for the Cass Career Center FFA chapter. Our chapter, which is celebrating its 71st year this year, consists of 112 members from Harrisonville, Lee Summit, and Raymore Peculiar. Our chapter has an extremely busy year thus far, filled with community service, leadership development, agriculture skill development, and a number of fun activities as well. We're proud that we have put over 200 hours of community service so far this year. Projects we have done include packing backpacks at Station 42 for Bright Futures, as well as the State Fair Food Insecurity Day, where we had a number of members participate there. Helping direct traffic at the Vietnam Moving Wall this summer, cutting corn stalks for the Town Festival in Lee Summit, and helping set up the Log Cabin Festival in Harrisonville, as well as putting up a petting zoo during said festival. In addition to that, this spring we plan to rebuild part of the horse arena at North Park, as well as offer a petting zoo at the Early Childhood Center as part of our Food for America program in April. Another part of our chapter is improving leadership in our members. We've had members participate in the Area Leadership Conference, National FFA Convention, Area and District FFA Speech Contests, Green Hand Motivational Conference, the FFA Youth Leadership Day at the State Capitol as well. In addition to that, this upcoming summer we'll have members attend the State FFA Leadership Camp. Members can apply leadership skills through chapter officer positions, committees, and chairs serving beyond the local level. This year, FFA chapter member Harley Sipple serves as the area FFA treasurer as well. We have monthly meetings where members use parliamentary procedure to accomplish the business of the chapter, much like we see here tonight. A major aspect of our organization is the training in the future of agriculture, food, and natural resource industry. So we take skills that we learn in 12 agriculture courses, as well as experience we receive in the supervised agriculture experience projects to prepare ourselves to solve the agriculture problems of the industry. So throughout the summer, many of our members take ag, mechanic, horticulture, vegetable, crop, and livestock projects to the local, district, and state levels for competition. Last summer, we had over 50 members exhibit projects at the district FFA fair and the Missouri State Fair. In addition to that, we work on career development contests throughout the year. Our horse judging team competed in the Northwest Missouri State horse judging contest in October, where we had our team place first out of 30 members. Member Skylar Light placed first high individual as well, which is a great accomplishment for her. This spring, we'll have over 40 students compete in career development contests. We also attend many industry field trips to learn about the agriculture industry. This year, students toured 6 local farms and agribusinesses in the agriculture industry. That includes Spice and Foods in Kansas City, Carolyn Country Cousins Agritourism Farm in Liberty, and we will attend the Western Farm Show in Kansas City this February as part of our FFA Week activities. This summer, we'll also have members attend agriculture academies to develop their agriculture skills and knowledge. Some of these academies include the Missouri HIMAX Academy, Precision Agriculture Academy, Area Officer Institute, and the Missouri HYPE Academy. Our FFA chapter also tries to have fun activities throughout the year for the members. Some of those activities have included laser tag at Paradise Park, ice skating at Crown Center, and a ski trip to Weston, Missouri, and as well as bowling at Aaron's as one of our activities. We'll hold our 71st FFA banquet on Wednesday, April 29th at Harrisonville High School. That starts at 7 p.m., and we would be proud to have any of you as guests at that event. Thank you very much for your continued support of the Cass Career Center and the Cass Career Center FFA chapter as well. Thank you very much.
So in closing, I just want to say thank you to you all as well, because these students have not only impacted hundreds of students within our own school district, but as you've heard with all their volunteer hours and all that, hundreds of people outside of our own community. So thank you guys. You deserve the recognition.
Thank you very much, guys. And then Mr. Wiegers, I think you've got a couple kids here from the high school?
Well, I know one of them is at a wrestling meet, and I'm not sure what happened to the other one. But
Doggone it.
High schoolers are busy. Tell you a little, so over the weekend I was at a dinner party with my significant other, and ran into a gentleman named Chen Chi, who is the vice president of a nationwide home care health company. Chen's 38, graduated from a high school in San Francisco with over 3,000 kids, went to the Harvard School of Business, graduated in 38, is the vice president of a company. So we had a long conversation, and right in the middle of it, he looks at me and says, "Mark, what field are you in?" And I said, proudly, "I'm a high school principal." And he looked at me with big eyes, and he's like, "Wow, how's your blood pressure?" And I said, "You know what? It's fine. I've got the best job in the world. I get to work with amazing kids every day, and it is the best job in the world." And our students of the month are evident of that. So Carly Reynolds and Austin Sasonis are our students of the month. Carly is involved in SAD, Key Club, Student Council, where she's the senior vice president, NHS, FCCLA, basketball and track. After high school, Carly told me that she's going to finish AIT in the Army Reserves. She's going to attend KU to major in biology, and that eventually she plans to attend medical school. She told me the best part of high school for her has been the relationships she has formed with teachers and friends, as well as the time spent cheering on HHS sports teams. When I asked her 3 adults in the building who have had the biggest impact on her, she told me Mrs. Terwilliger, Mr. K, and Coach Lockett. And this is what they said. Mrs. Terwilliger said that Carly is such a kind and hardworking person. I've had the pleasure of being her teacher and her student council sponsor during the past 4 years, and she has brought so much joy to my life. Her genuine smile and ability to make everyone she meets feel special are just a couple of the many things I will miss about her once she leaves HHS. I'm certain that whether she chooses to continue a career in the military or to follow another path, she will always be someone I am proud to know. And Mr. K said that Carly gives 100% at everything she does. She's a wonderful student and even a better person. And Coach Lockett said that Carly's a bold and confident young lady who's determined to accomplish whatever she desires. She's tough and would never let anyone come between her and her goals. And then our male student of the month is Austin Sasonis, and Austin's at a wrestling meet at the high school. Austin's been involved in soccer, wrestling, track, NHS, and SAD. His plans after high school are to attend college at Northwest Missouri State University, quiet, and major in marine biology. He told me that his favorite part of high school has been hanging out with friends and other students, and he said that he's also really enjoyed his teachers and learning new things. When I asked him the three adults who've had the biggest impact on him, without hesitation, he goes, Mrs. Kump and Mr. and Mrs. D, the Davidies. And Mrs. Kump said that Austin is the most genuine, kind-hearted, and hardworking student. I've had the pleasure of helping Austin in class for 3 years and as a cadet teacher for this last year. He's dependable and helpful. He willingly volunteers to help tutor students on his free time. He will assist me with any task I need done in class and will ask if there is anything else he can do to help. He's an excellent student, athlete, and role model, and I'm beyond privileged to have taught and known Austin through his high school career. And then Mrs. DeVinny said, for 2 of Austin's 4 years of high school, I've had him in first hour. He's the type of kid who comes in smiling, cheerful, and ready to give me a run for my money. I love it. And she has love in capital letters. Frankly, exchanging sassy comments with Austin is one of the highlights of my day. That's not the only reason I like Austin, though. He has a wonderful brain, an incredible work ethic, and a huge heart. He's an excellent choice for Student of the Month. And then Mr. DeVinny said that Austin is a joy to have in class. He has a great sense of humor and is so very well-rounded that it's a delight to be able to sit and talk with him on any number of topics. Above and beyond is his sense of service. He's always one of the first to jump in and help on any project and works until the task is finished. So Carly Reynolds and Austin Sasonis are Students of the Month. Thank you.
And then our partner organization, the PTO. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you guys can go ahead and go. You're more than welcome to stay, but
I know the
you're good if you go.
Thank you.
Oh, well done, Beth. I can tell you that wasn't a boat.
Oh, our partner organization.
Whacked there.
Okay, so I'm Alexa Carter, and I'm the PTO president. We're just going to give you just a real quick overview of what we've been doing this year. So far this year, we elected a new member, Alex Mallett. We added a social chair to our board. This is our 31st year selling trash bags. Laura, our treasurer, will give you an update on our profits. All prizes were donated by local businesses, so that helped our sale out a lot. We had top seller was Kaylin Davis. She sold 211 rolls of trash bags. Hudson Hargrave was second with 168 rolls, and Taylor Hollingsworth was third with 157. So I've been on the board for about 8 years now, and I remember when I first started, our top sellers sold about 100, 101, maybe 105 rolls. And this year our top seller sold 211. So we feel like that's a lot of progress. We've tried to get better prizes and more incentives for the kids to sell and want to participate. All the profits go directly to fund special activities and extra supplies at the school. Last year we bought Rockwalt McEwen. We got some playground stuff. We painted the playground. So I think the kids see that stuff from last year and they're more interested in participating this year. So I'll turn it over to Laura.
Okay, talk a little bit more about trash bags here. It's been a phenomenal fundraiser. Alexa mentioned it was our 31st year. We sold, during the sale period in September, we sold 8,873 rolls. We continue to have those available at McEwen and HES, so it just keeps on going a little bit throughout the year, and it's become a tradition, and it's quite a success. She mentioned some of the things we did last year. One of the things we did to help boost our sales in the last couple of years, I think we really got kids excited about prizes and incentives. So I think Alex will talk a little bit about that, but just really worked things that got the kids excited, like Alexa said. Just it's amazing the amount of rolls some of these kids are selling. It's, they're back in a truck. We're backing a truck up and picking up these boxes of trash bags, and it just really gets us excited too to see them investing time and excitement into it. So that's our profit this year. That's $34,586 so far, with, like I said, continuing sales throughout the year. So just really exciting, and just lets us do a lot of exciting things. We were able to add to our budget this year some funding for the music departments at the elementary schools, and also field days, which are an exciting thing that can be a little bit more exciting if you can have a bounce house or something kind of cool like that. So just continuing to improve, and we're good to see it grow and be a success, and looking forward to year 32.
Hi, I'm Paula Wooten. I'm the Vice President of PTO. I just want to tell you a few things of the upcoming events that are coming that PTO is sponsoring. We sponsor the ice cream socials at each school in the spring. We do family nights at each school also in the spring, and the all-school read at McEwen. And last year we started the shaved ice at field days at the elementary schools, and that was a big hit, and we're going to go ahead and do that again this year and have that on the calendar. We also will sponsor the teacher appreciation gift and their luncheon in May.
Hi, I'm Alex Mallet. I'm the social chair. It's a new chair, especially for me because I was so eager to be here. So just some other quick PTO business. Our last meeting will be April 13th at 6:30 at McEwen. We encourage as many teachers to be at that one as we can because it is our budget meeting. So that way they have as much input on it as they can, and all you guys do at that. We'll do elections at that meeting too. And then our trash bags are available all year at all the schools. So anything you can do to spread that word just helps us out as much as we can. All right, thank you. Oh, but not at ECC. All right, thank you.
You can only buy them at HES and McEwen, but we encourage you guys to.
Yeah. I just found that out a few years ago and don't know how I missed out on that information because I always run out of trash bags.
Well, you can always get a hold of us directly, too.
That's great information to have.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Feel free to leave.
I'm ready. We've got school board recognition week.
School Board Recognition Week. So there's a few things that we'd like to give to the board to recognize you all for your service. Not many people realize that serving on the Board of Education is completely voluntary. Other positions in government pay. However, school board is just the knowledge that you're helping kids and do great things for their future. So first of all, I'd like to start by reading the governor's proclamation, which actually declares that the week of February 9th through 15th is the actual school board recognition week, but we honor that at this meeting just because it's prior to the actual date, and the next one is after. So anyway, whereas a system of quality public education is essential to the future of our state and nation, and whereas the people of Missouri have a long tradition of support for public education in their local school districts, and whereas local school boards are the ultimate expression of the unique American institution of representative governance of public school districts, and whereas local school boards acting on behalf of and in close connection with the people of their communities chart the direction of education in their communities, and whereas local school boards serve as the key community advocate for children, youth, and the public schools, now therefore I, Michael L. Parson, Governor of the State of Missouri, do hereby proclaim February 9th through 15th, 2020 to be School Board Recognition Week in Missouri, and urge all Missourians to recognize school boards as they strive with their communities to improve our public schools through quality leadership. And that's from our governor, so thank you all. And in addition to the proclamation, so we have Kurzweil's for all the board members. We have an MSBA certificate that was issued, and then our students. Probably the best thing is student work from each of our buildings has adopted one of the board members, and you can see some of the examples up here of the work and the appreciation from our students. That's why you do this, and we thank you very much. I thank you. So on behalf of our staff and students.
I want to say thanks to all the students that did this for me. Thank you guys very much. They've been hard at work.
Okay, monthly information items. Anybody have any questions on those? Enrollment?
It's gone up.
Yeah.
Good thing.
Oh, I just closed my screen out. Hold on. Thank God you print paper.
Use mine because I can barely see it. So.
God. I don't know why I hit the X. I always hit the dang X. Yeah. All right, board candidate filing updates. I think we don't have any additions.
No, do you want me to? I can read
yeah,
it for
if
you.
would,
So
while I go back in.
So our Board of Education filing candidates, filing for candidates closed today at 5 p.m. We have three 3-year terms to be filled. Those who have filed notice of their candidacy for the April 7th, 2020 election are Nancy Shelton, Bing Schimmelfinning, Cameron Chenoweth, and Chris Bell.
Cameron's here tonight.
Cameron is here. Thanks, Cam.
The assessment and evaluation of district programs.
Through December, we started receiving our property taxes. We're at about 54%. It seems the tax receipts are coming in a little slower this year.
Really?
Than previous years. So I don't know.
Where would we usually be at now? If
they're usually up in the 60, 70%.
Yeah. Okay.
Through the month of December, we're seeing quite a bit more than what we're seeing this year. So hopefully, I haven't seen, I mean, we're on the 21st. I haven't seen any more come in through January. So I'm not sure the processing is a little slower over at the office this year. What's going on? Prop C revenues meet budget projections for that at our half-year mark. Our local food service sales and federal reimbursements are meeting budget now. We're back to where we should be. DESE and the feds were a little slow getting their monies to us, so we're back at budget again. State revenues are at or near budget at mid-year, so that's looking good. As far as expenditures, everything looks pretty normal. We're not running anywhere running ahead of what we should be. Ended projected fund balance percentage at the end of December is 27.8%, and our total cash and investments are $9.2 million.
Okay, and the counseling program evaluation, I believe Mrs. Knox wanted to speak on that.
I mean, I get to speak.
You get to speak.
So this year is my first year taking on the counseling department, and we have had a lot of changes in the counseling department. Not necessarily with our school-based counselors, but we have added 2 school-based therapists that they come through Compass Health. So I've spotlighted a little bit of that on the front there for the background of the program. A lot of things are similar to the last report, but I did add in there about with the needs of their students changing, building counselors across the districts have helped facilitate, train, and implement new procedures and processes to help teachers become more trauma-informed and aware. This is a huge thing. We are working as closely as we can with mental health. There's definitely a different approach between our educational approach and a therapeutic approach from the mental health world. And so we are working really hard to blend those things, and not just in the counseling department, but across the board. Our teachers are having to become more trauma-informed, and our counselors are working really hard to help support teachers, but not only get that information to them, also help carry out that information, because I feel like we have done a great job of becoming more trauma-sensitive, but it is the supports for teachers. I mean, when you have 21 little people in a classroom and you have 7 of them that really need some extra attention and support when it comes to trauma, we are having to become very think very uniquely on how to meet the needs of all of our kiddos, and our population is changing, and our counselors are definitely becoming more involved in helping not only the kiddos, but also inform the staff, because I started in education 12 years ago, and then the kids that are in our buildings now are different than the kids that they were 12 years ago. There's a lot more baggage, I think, that comes with them. So our counseling department across the board is working really hard with that right now. Several of them are doing book studies. Most of them are focusing on resiliency, overcoming that I can be told no and I can still be okay. I don't like to be told no, but that's what they're working on. So those are things that we're really working on. Also, hey. There's haters behind me. But also with our school-based therapists for Compass Health, we are running, we started off with one full-time, not even full-time school-based therapist, and we now have 2 full-time school-based therapists. And we are working to get our school-based therapists, their names are Megan and Sarah, and they are fabulous ladies. They are working to get a grant for us. They work through Compass Health, but they are here in our buildings every day. They are working to get a grant for us. As of right now, they're only seeing kids that are Medicaid eligible or that have private insurance. But for our kiddos that the families cannot afford to have any type of mental health care, they're working on trying to find a grant to help subsidize some of that so that we can see more kids. Now, granted, they are running already full. At this time, our secondary therapist, Sarah, she sees approximately 28 students across the high school and middle school. An elementary therapist, Megan, who just started earlier this year, she sees 21 students across ECC, HES, and McEwen. Sarah has started working with a dialectical behavior therapy group of 10 students. Again, she's supposed to cap that at 8, but she sees the needs. That is supposed to be proactive for our secondary students of more of those at-risk type behaviors to help for dropout rates as well as various other behaviors that we are seeing in the high school. So there's a lot of good information in here. I do have an update from the high school that I was not able to get in this report to you, so I will send that to Susan and she can share it out, but it just kind of breaks down the grade levels at the high school a little bit better for you. But I really want to spotlight on the last page of the report, looking forward to the next couple of years. So working towards getting a grant for all students to have access to school-based therapists, regardless of the socioeconomic status. The big one that we talked about at our counselors meeting is to continue the fire and drive to becoming more trauma sensitive and collecting and providing resources to teachers on how and what to do in those situations. So not only we have become very well at being informed, but the next step of that is the action. And we have the information, but we need to be able to help support our teachers in rolling those things out and finding those resources to help put those things into play. Again, the information is great, but our teachers are very eager right now to know, okay, you've told me all about this, now tell me how to implement. And so that's kind of where we are. And that is a slow process because it is definitely a new approach, even for our new grads of teachers. It is a new approach to looking at educating students. So it'll be a journey, but it's definitely one we are very much eager to go on. We're going to focus on student needs and supports throughout buildings. With that, I'm really, really encouraging be proactive with groups. If you can, as counselors, get in, see kids. Jennifer Beavers shared with the group about some of our at-risk population and about how to kind of reach those kids that are right there on that bubble of attendance, that we can help encourage them to come by just knowing that there's an adult counting on seeing them there every single day and they're eager to see them there. So we talked about some strategies for that as well. We also are becoming more familiar with the Sabres Assessment. So this is grades kindergarten through 6th through FastBridge. We purchased the Universal Screener last year, mostly for MTSS, for academics, but it comes with the Sabres component, which is a social emotional learning behavioral. I want to make sure that we're really intentional about that assessment because I want to make sure that when we give the assessment, we have a plan for what we are going to do with the information, similar to the trauma information. If we're going to collect it, then we need to make sure that we have a plan to put something in action. I was very excited to hear how eager our counselors are to get that information because it helps identify in older years, you do a self-assessment, the kiddo does, but in younger years, the teacher fills out an assessment. It helps identify our at-risk kids that may be the quiet kiddos that stay under the radar for us, but that you can start to see kind of those at-risk behaviors and that need for more social, almost like a family type approach to things. So we're working on the Sabres. I'm hopeful that we can try to run the Sabres for the first time in the spring when we do our spring assessment. But again, I want to make sure that they are very prepared for the results of those so that we kind of have a plan of action to roll those out instead of just collecting data just to collect it. So that's counseling in a nutshell. I am still learning about counselors. But they're very helpful. They're very eager to help me learn, which is great. Questions that I can try to answer or get you answers about our counselors?
Could you define trauma? In my head, I'm trying to think of, my arm's cut off or whatever it is, but that's not what we're talking about here.
No, good question. So trauma looks different for every single person. Now, I'm going to speak a lot from the special ed side in regards to trauma, but it's very similar. Trauma is anything that, in my opinion, gives you a sense of dysregulation. Sometimes it's divorce. Sometimes it is a traumatic event happening, someone passing away. Sometimes it is lack of your needs, even as a young child, that, if you didn't have food, you didn't have shelter, you didn't feel safe, those types of things that carry through. What we're seeing is more and more of those situations, more and more parents who, kids that are not, this is Andy Knox's opinion only, more and more students that are not getting the social engagement of a family dynamic, but instead you get a screen, which is why they're working on resiliency, because I want it now, and I want it, it's like Violet on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I don't know how to overcome not being told no. So instead I shut down, or I explode, or I throw a desk, or I make it so that teachers are clearing rooms. And so what we are trying to do is become more proactive with those approaches. The hard part of that is that in those moments that when you have a kid that is carrying a traumatic bag with them, you don't always know it, which is why the Sabres helps a little bit, because it helps identify those kiddos that kind of go under our radar. I mean, there are some that definitely pick up on the radar. Like they clear our rooms, for evacuations in classrooms, those types of things. And I'm not even talking special ed students. I mean, we have plans for our special ed students. These are our reg ed kids that need this extra support. The BIST continuum that we work on is trauma sensitive. I mean, we're just trying as much as we can, but it's mostly hidden, invisible. It's invisible things that kiddos are carrying. Not always. Sometimes it's physical abuse as well, or neglect. But I always think it as like the invisible mental health. Mental health is hard because you can't see it, and people can cover it very well.
Thank you for that.
You used the acronym MTSS a couple of times.
Yeah.
You probably defined it and I missed it. But
Nope. Multi-tiered system of support. So RTI is what we used to call it, response to intervention, but MTSS is a more global. It focuses on all, in my opinion, all components of the kiddo, from social, emotional, behavioral, all the way up to academics. So it just helps. It just looks at a kid globally, and then you can kind of rank how you want to attack those gaps, if it's reading, math, or social emotional.
And that makes perfect sense in the context of what you were saying. But
Yeah, sorry.
I found my mind was going down this game of I can't find that.
No, I love acronyms.
Thank you.
Could you describe what the group therapy is at the high school, the dialectical behavior therapy?
So I don't know a lot about that. I will ask Sarah kind of what that looks like, and then I'll get that back to you. I just know that when they all started talking about it, and I was like that kid, I was like, okay, yeah, that's real cool. I know about that. But I don't know the depth of it. I do know that it is a proactive approach to giving those
dialogue. Is that what it's about?
I think it's more of like being able to recognize those emotions, recognize those feelings, identify them, and then not explode. It's kind of like in that moment what they're working on. But I will ask Sarah for more clarification. They are great resources. Megan and Sarah have been fabulous. Again, there's a definite different approach between therapeutic approach and educational approach. So it has been extremely beneficial in situations where we pull that entire team together, because they also work outside of the district with families, and it is very helpful to be able to pull a parent and outside agencies through Compass Health, previously Pathways, us and our internal, Megan and Sarah, and say, this is a plan that we can all be okay with, and we can all have a unified approach to our students. Because that's what we were running into a little bit, is that we're all kind of taking different approaches because we look at things, we look at them very differently when you talk to a therapist versus an educator.
I think we say a lot, and you hear a lot, you see a lot of memes on Facebook about kids today aren't, they're not going to amount to what we did or what our parents did. It's not the kids today, it's the environment today, and I very much appreciate the forward thinking of we can't do it the way we've always done it,
right,
because that's not the situation that we're in today.
Right.
So what's that next step to make the kids in the school district today as successful as they can be when they're my age? So I appreciate the approach. I appreciate the fact that we're willing to look at that and not just do what we've always done.
Right.
'Cause that's not going to work
Right.
anymore.
Right, you're exactly right. And being proactive is so important, because in that moment, when you have the kid that explodes, it is too late. It's too late. And I am really big on that too, because those perceptions that peers develop from those kids, they follow them forever. If kids are planning on starting in first grade or kindergarten in Harrisonville and graduating Harrisonville High School, and you were once a student that made it so that your room needed to be cleared, there is, at some point, you become almost ostracized by peers because they become afraid of you, essentially. I mean, little kids, I have Henry, who when he has a little guy in his classroom that if he's upset that day, I mean, that's what Henry remembers from his day. And so we're trying to be proactive in helping teachers identify those things and then getting some tools in their toolbox to help de-escalate those things.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Was there anything else that we could help you with?
In regards to the counselors?
Counseling?
No.
Need help?
I think that listening to our counselors, we have really strong counselors, and they do a great job advocating for themselves, and then they'll tell me, hey, we're supposed to be working on this right now. Oh yes, yeah, now I remember. But I think in the sense of just keep talking about the changes that our students are facing, because it is really hard to when you go and visit a building, you don't always get to see the everyday, right? You kind of see what we hope that you see when we walk into a building. But our population has changed, and we have to change with our population. And that's really hard, because we as teachers, we're not trained as mental health providers, and we're not mental health providers. But we have to keep working on developing those skills and those supports within the buildings to get those needs met for our kids. Because I firmly believe that if you are a kid that comes to school and you don't have all of your needs met that need to be met, you are not ready to learn anything that we have to present to you in regards to academics. And that is really hard for a teacher to hear, because we are drilled in us that we teach reading, writing, and math. We don't teach you how to sit next to your peers without getting upset and hurting them, or screaming and yelling and having a fit. We don't teach those social skills because we expect people to have them. But it's that hidden skills that we have to now be more intentional on teaching that is those are really hard. They're really hard for teachers. They're really hard for me, and I have taught behavior kids before. So I think it's that support too, that awareness that our population is changing, and we have to start changing with it. Okay, and I'll send Susan the high school breakdown of counseling overview for you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
The levy recommendation from the steering committee. We need no. Come on up. Sorry. Jumping ahead again.
I'm Marcy Baumel, and I was a participant in both the Strategic Planning Committee and the Steering Committee. And on the first item, I'm going to recommend and go over the Steering Committee proposal is it's Proposition I, and it's for the 50-cent levy addition. In regard to that levy would raise operating from current $3.90 per $100 of assessed value to $4.40. It would request that the board move the increase into Fund 2 for salaries, and the district currently transfers nearly $3 million into Fund 2 from Fund 1. This increase, the tax increase, the levy, would reduce the amount necessary to transfer for salaries, and it would allow increases for all staff in the district. So also in regard to Proposition I have been trying to pay kind of close attention to what the governors and the House, Senate, their statements, because he came out several weeks ago, month plus, in regard to where Missouri starting pay, he at that time said it was 49th in the United States, only behind Montana. And then, so he came up with, all right, we are going to get all Missouri teachers raises so that they will kind of average out with the other school districts. And he quoted $400 million in regard to do what he wanted to do. So then they had their closed session last Thursday, and I listened to his replies and his responses, and he, quote, stated that it was the school districts, the school board, and DESE to come up with the monies as to how they were going to get Missouri salaries increased. So they've completely backed out, and they've put it all back on our level. So surrounding districts, the pay starting teachers anywhere from $1,600 more at Pleasant Hill, $2,700 more at Midway, and $3,000 more at Ray-Peck. Harrisonville's average teacher salary was nearly $5,000 less than the average Missouri teacher salary last year. And then just once again, to put this in perspective, the governor has cited one study that ranks Missouri's starting salary at 49th in the United States. The district has already adopted a calendar with less professional development days for next year, allowing teachers to receive time off versus salary increases. And if the levy increase does not pass, the district will most likely be forced to freeze salaries. So that's Proposition I. Should I go on, or do you guys want to motion that?
They'll have to be separate. Well, audience. Right, we have to do that next.
Can we table this, get the next one, the audience delegations, and then go back next one?
Yeah, you can vote late. I mean, it doesn't really have to be tabled. You can listen and then vote later.
I knew you were going to go ahead and go with the next one.
Okay. Proposition N is $22,700,000 of reduced state rate bond. There is $25 million available in the current levy, and we are requesting $2.3 million less. This would reduce the current tax rate in debt services, which is Fund 3, by 10 cents. It's currently $1.1772. The improvements as determined by the needs assessment from the Hollis and Miller Agricultural Firm, architectural firm,
We knew what you meant.
I know, thanks. The first one was safety and security improvements, and there was the secure vestibules within the school districts, safety film on glass, update the fire alarm systems, and fencing at the playground at McEwen Elementary. The next one was their 15 plus years old heating and cooling systems need to be replaced in all buildings. 75 plus rooftop units are 17 plus years old, and the boilers at the middle school, ECC, and HES need to be replaced. Third item would be roof repair and replacement, electrical improvements, asphalt improvements, the upgrade for the technology infrastructure, the stadium retaining wall replacement, track resurfacing, and then that would be able to pay off existing energy conservation leased purchase certificates, which is at $2.7 million. This would also, paying off that lease purchase certificates would save money on reduced interest rates of bonds versus leases. Now, a couple of things on that. The operating balance decreases from a high of $8.26 million in 2013-14 to a current balance of around $4 million. The district cut 6 teaching positions last year, along with 1 central office administrator, 1 support staff position, and 2 extra duty stipends. The recent large purchases of rooftop unit replacements at various buildings and the water line replacement at McEwen, which these are just like things we have to take care of, represents a large capital emergency expenditures that require transfers from operating to pay for it, resulting in examples of how the operating balances continue to decrease. The district did see large jumps of nearly 10% in assessed valuation the last 2 years. However, due to the Hancock Amendment to the Missouri Constitution, only the Consumer Price Index of 1.9% growth is allowed, despite jumps in health insurance and moderate staff increases. The bond issue yields huge benefits to the infrastructure of the district while actually reducing the tax rate businesses and homeowners will pay. So that is Proposition N. And the only thing I would like to add, as part of the Strategic Planning Committee and the Steering Committee, I just want all of you guys to know it was so exciting and fun to be a part of that, because we were all together, business owners, city officials, district employees, committees, school board members. We had a leader in our meeting. Paul just kind of set the agenda, took the vision, and then we were all able to work together as a team to come up with what our strategic plan needed to be, and then what the steering committee's proposal. And it's so neat to be back to where everyone can work together as a team. So I just wanted to say thank you all on that. So, any questions?
Well, I have a question. I don't know if you can answer it, but I'm sure somebody can.
I get to redirect. any
Okay.
questions?
My question is, when was the last time the district tax levy was increased?
In my 2007?
2000 was the last voter approval.
Oh,
2000. So it's been
Okay.
20 years. Correct? 20 years that we have not had an increase in our operating tax levy, basically.
Voter approved, correct.
yeah, voter.
That's a long time to go without any increase.
Not to be confused with an increase in revenue, however. We have had an increase in revenue, just not a levy
Correct.
rate increase.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments for Marcy?
So it's my understanding that this proposal, Prop I, how did you pick these letters, by the way?
Well, it says, it means in. Prop I and in, everyone in.
Oh, okay.
For the better
That's
of
fine.
the district.
I'm just my question is this. I don't know if it's on the ballot anywhere, but I know 50 cents was being tossed around as the amount. Is that still what's happening or not? I didn't hear 50 cents.
Yeah, that was
Yes,
the
that's
proposal.
Because I didn't hear it mentioned when you were talking. I guess you gave us the total amount.
Well, she said
So-
390 to
right.
440.
So the 50 cents would be totally for salaries. Is that going to be, if we approve this, is that going to be listed on the ballot that way? That it will go for salaries?
You can't list it on the salary or on the ballot that way, because if you have mandated rollbacks, it's going to affect that from being 50 cents to a certain amount. So
Oh, okay.
it can fluctuate based on assessed valuation changes.
Okay.
So didn't you mention there was like a 10-cent rollback? So does it go to 40 cent, or is it really a 40 cent instead of 50 cent? Did I miss that?
I think you're confusing the bond
Yeah.
issue
okay,
with
that
the
means it's
operating levy.
Okay. Bond. Okay.
But to Bing's question, if I understood, and to be honest, I think that may have been the first time I heard anything about a rollback on the debt service levy, which would be great. But if I wrote down a question here, I'm pausing because I'm searching for it and I can't see. There we go. Would the ballot language require that reduction in the debt service levy that we talked about?
You can put that in there.
Okay, so, all right.
Any other questions or comments?
I'd just like to say thanks to the steering committee. I don't know who was on it, but they did some good work.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was,
okay, thanks,
it
steering
was a
committee.
great,
I would agree that it's nice to see the positive forward.
you guys don't know how excited and fun, I mean, it really was. I was honored to be asked to begin with, and then when I would come home after that, it was just like, yes, this is what we're wanting. This is what we need to get back to, or, this is what we need to move forward, I guess is a better way to say it.
Thank you for all your work on that, Marcy. So now we will open it up to the audience delegations. I believe, Steve, you signed up. There is a 3-minute time limit, so we'll set the timer on that.
Thank you. My name is Steve Cheslick. I live at 1601 East Mechanic in Harrisonville. And I just want to tell the board and Superintendent Minching, thank you for responding to my inquiries and phone calls. And I tried to get a hold of all of you. I didn't get a hold of Brittany and Tina, I don't think. But at any rate, I appreciate your responses and obviously your willingness to take your volunteer time to serve the community. I just want to preface this by saying there's clearly lots of needs, and it was nice to sit here and see these kids and all the wonderful things that are going on in the district, and so I know there's needs, and there's I don't mean to downplay that fact with my words here tonight. One thing I do want to say from a taxpayer standpoint, and I've talked to several of you about this, that the assessed valuation increase that occurred across the county resulted in a $700,000 increase from the taxpayers from 2018 compared to 2019. So in 2019, the Harrisonville residents, school district residents, were paying $700,000 more out of their pocket. And if I'm doing the math correctly, and Mr. Menching, you can certainly correct me if I'm wrong, the 40-cent net increase we're looking at here with the 50% or 50-cent operating levy increase and then the 10% rollback on the debt service levy, the math I'm getting on that would be another $700,000 increase in revenue for the district, which adds up to $1.4 million in a 2-year time frame. And I just hear, as a taxpayer, just to say that seems like an awful lot to ask of the taxpayers in a two-year period. I did learn tonight that there hadn't been an increase in the levy, and that was interesting and sheds light on things for such a long time. However, there are assessed valuation increases that occur over the years, and so there is, like Mr. Bell said, an increase in revenue as the years have gone through. Again, I don't mean to dismiss the needs that are apparent, but I do want the board to be aware of the burden that is being put on the taxpayers, and I appreciate your consideration of that as you make this difficult decision tonight. So, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Now we need a motion for the levy recommendations. Because we decided we needed to do that separate, correct? Yep. So now we need a motion.
It was to increase the levy by 50 cents. Make the motion that we increase the levy by 50 cents as recommended by the steering committee.
We normally have a
Yeah, roll call.
resolution to do this.
So we were supposed to receive a resolution. We did not receive that today, so I don't know what happened. And so that makes it a little difficult.
I'd have to call a special meeting later when you get
Say,
I
are we
think
going to
that's
need a
probably
special
what
meeting?
needs to happen. Yeah, that's probably what needs to happen.
Where does the resolution come from?
Comes from LJR.
Okay.
For the levy? I know the bond, but the LJ.
All ballot language
Oh,
usually comes
yeah.
from our.
So we need the specific ballot language to make a motion. Okay.
I texted them and they said it was sent on Friday, but so they did not get it.
We did not get it today.
And it was coming FedEx.
So I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. Where does that leave us? We're not going to be able to address it or
We don't have
debate
anything.
it
We don't have any
tonight. We don't
language.
have anything to.
We don't have any language.
Okay.
When is our deadline to get the language on the ballot?
Friday.
So we're going to have to call a special meeting.
And it's got to be a public meeting with 24 hours notice.
I would like to make a motion that we postpone this so that it can be placed on the November ballot if we're indeed going to do it. Understanding that the April ballot has a larger chance for success because of less voter turnout, but also understanding that gives us time to look at alternatives and that gives us time to communicate more to the general public. So I guess I'll put that in the form of a motion. I'd like to move that we table these two issues or postpone them until June. I don't know how to pick a date, but a future date.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
For purpose of discussion, I'll second it because I have a couple of questions I want to be able to ask Paul, so I will second so we can have discussion.
I wanted to wait till okay, so here's my two concerns. Okay, if you want to do it in November, it won't go on anything that's passed in November does not go on the tax rolls until the following year. So you put it behind another year. The other issue is the election's going to cost us in the neighborhood of, Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, around $20,000. Right now, we don't. That fee is minimal because we have a school board election. So we don't pay another. In other words, just to add another issue doesn't cost you another $20,000. But we don't typically have anything on another ballot in August and November. So if you want to put something on in August or November, it's going to cost you another $20,000.
Okay.
Those are, at minimum, depending on the number of issues on the ballot. August would allow you to put that on the tax rate for the 2020 year, but that's the last election that's allowed to impact next.
So, okay, fair points. So, since we're not talking about approving either Proposition I or N from the board tonight, let me change my motion to state let's postpone the discussion and the decision so that we can address it in time for the August ballot. That would resolve the problem of at least one of those two problems, the problem of attaching it to the current tax year.
I guess flip side too is, so if we receive the language, we call a special meeting, we can look at that and decide before Friday, correct?
Correct.
And if for some reason we fail to miss that deadline, then we can then move it to the August at that point, correct?
Do you know what the delay in getting the language resolutions?
Well, there was a lot of conversations about the language. We didn't like the language that they originally proposed because it was long. It wasn't simple. And so we sent back what we thought was an alternative, and they said that there was not enough information that the state auditor's office would say that was not good. So anyways, through that process of going back and forth, they said they were going to send the resolution Friday. It didn't get here today. So.
Did you have any other questions, Doug?
I think he gave me what I needed to know.
Questions? So the motion on the floor is to table this for the August discussion? For the August ballot?
That's what he amended his motion to. We
Okay.
don't have a second on the amendment.
Okay, we need a
yet.
second on that if we're going to move forward with that. Do we have a second for the amended motion? We do not have a second for the amended motion. So do we go back to the original motion then, which is the
To table it and place it on the November ballot.
Okay. So we had a second for that.
Correct.
So that's what we're voting on. And that will be a roll call vote. So I would be in favor of moving it to the November ballot, and a no would be not in favor. Okay.
Nancy?
No.
Brittany?
No.
Chris?
Aye.
Tina?
No.
Doug?
No.
Doug?
No.
Bing?
No.
So we will.
Motion fails.
Okay. So we will see with LJ Hart where we need that verbiage tomorrow to get the meeting called in time.
We want to set a meeting for Thursday.
Yep. 7:30 in the morning. Okay. Can everybody do that?
And it's a public meeting.
So
It will be a
no,
public meeting.
7:30. I can find that before we leave tonight, but
Okay.
yeah, if I can't, I can't.
It doesn't have to be that time.
We can do it another
Okay.
time.
If we can get everybody here, I think that would be good.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely want to be here, but I got to
Typically,
make
we've
a
done
phone call
special
before.
meetings earlier in the morning, but if we need to do it later, we absolutely can.
Right, understood, but understand I can't drive myself right now until my vision is all. So I gotta-
Absolutely.
I'm out of town Thursday.
You're out of town?
Yeah. So
All
I
day?
as well. But can we
what's Friday look like?
attend via
Virtually.
video?
Virtually.
Or phone, you can do phone.
Phone.
It's an open meeting, so,
But if it's a roll call vote,
yeah, you can't.
they can't.
You have
You have to do video
You
for
have
a
to do
roll
video
call.
for
Video
roll
for
call.
a roll call vote.
I can log in via video, but I will be.
Space time work.
Yes, FaceTime works.
Okay. You want to get us a time?
I will. I can do that before I leave the building tonight.
Beautiful.
I just need to make a phone call.
Sure. Okay, so we'll know that here in just a little bit. All right. Revised board policy JHCD. We need a motion.
I move to approve board policy JHCD as presented by MSBA.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to the banking services bid, we need a motion.
Hang on just 1 second,
Okay,
please,
sorry about
since
that.
he's leaving. Okay.
Okay, we
Make-
need a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize the administration to enter into a banking service contract for a period of 5 years with Hawthorne Bank.
Second.
Any discussion on this?
Sorry, who seconded?
Nancy.
Brittany? Oh, Nancy? Didn't hear that at all.
So we provided the scoring sheets for you, so you're aware of the bid scoring, how that was tabulated. I'd like to point out that Aaron Raines is here from Commerce. We appreciate what they've done, and they have certainly done a lot for us, for the school district, for a long time, which also includes an anchor contract on our scoreboards. You know, it would be, this is not anything that's on the agenda, but at some point I would recommend releasing them from that commitment based on the recommended change. So I just want to throw that out there. So it's been a good relationship, and possibly continue that at a later date, but the rates were just too good to not look at doing something different.
Anybody have any questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. HHS HVAC rooftop unit. We need an action.
Move to authorize the emergency purchase of rooftop unit 54 for the high school in the amount of $9,989.62.
Second.
Ongoing.
Lumping them along.
We need
Okay.
heat.
All right. Any other discussion on this? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, ladies and
Jason.
gentlemen.